Hello everybody, welcome back to my character creation tutorial. Yesterday I said I will do helper and supers today. Instead, I'm going to do helper and grabs today as a special request from my friend. So, first off, I'll show you how to do a basic helper for her air Z attack. Now, let's just go over the character one more time, see what we've done, and I'll tell you what we're going to do from there on. Now, let's see. So we should have done the projectiles last time. So that's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. That does nothing. That's good. So too fast. I see. Okay. Combo with that. Let's see. Oh, it misses. No, I can't combo that. It's alright though. So next we're gonna work on the air Z, where she shoots down basically and goes up a little bit. So we already have the animation for that stuff already coded from my previous videos if you've seen. Next we're gonna code a helper. So instead of being a projectile, it's gonna be a helper. Being coded as a helper gives it more different type of settings. It can react and behave differently as compared to a projectile, which has like set settings. Now, Command Air Z, I'm going to copy that and paste it. I'm going to name this Air Z Helper, and I'll make this state 235. Use whatever number you feel comfortable with. I think 235 is good for me. I'll set the physics to none, so this way I have total control over the helper. It's going to be an attack, and this type is going to be A because it's going to be in the air. I think all helpers should have A as their type, even if they're on the ground mostly. Just because this way, if it's hit in the air or anything, it'll react in a certain way. It's hard to really explain how this works, but I think it works best. You can use whatever you want to use. The helper will not take juggle points. It will not give it will not give power. You have no control over it, and it's going to use animation 515. 515. Okay. Now it's going to need a hit def so it can actually hit the opponent. So we're just going to go over here and copy the hit def, and there. So instead of the trigger is going to be different for this one. Instead of animation element 4, we're just going to use time equals 0. Time equals 0 means pretty much time equals 0, what it says, but it works like the hit def is active for as long as there is a CLSN, and it will only take effect for one CLSN. It will not do 2 hits or 3 hits. It's gonna work for, it's like it works indefinitely for any collision box that you have, but only for the one hit. That's it. Okay, that's the basic hit def for it. I'll make this, no, let me see, hit type, hit flag, sorry, equals middle, air, and fall. So if she's above your character and she shoots down, she can hit your character if they're on the floor. Okay, next, we're not going to use a hit spark number here, so we don't need that. Next, to make a proper helper, you need a helper summoning code, which I will show you up here. The helper summoning code goes in the player's state that is not the helper, but the attack that uses the helper. So I'm just gonna go to helper. All this extra crap. This size stuff you don't have to worry about. This, none of this, none of this, none of this, none of this. This might be handy if you're scaling the helper, but I don't plan on scaling today. This I will leave 0, 0. Super move time, pause move time. This is if your opponent is doing a super the same time you fire it. Will the helper move? No, 0 means no, and any number you put will be in terms of ticks. So it'll move for like 90 ticks if your opponent does a helper while this this move will be active for 90 ticks if your opponent does a super while this helper is in play. So this helper will move for 90 ticks. But if you're 0, then it will pause like everything else and just not move. Helper type is apparently deprecated, so you don't need to use this anymore. And besides, player never officially worked according to ElectBytes files, but people have used it to make like clone characters. So let's see. We're gonna check her animation for the air Z, and she shoots the arrow at 7th frame. So 7 will be the frame. I'll put no physics for her. Yeah. Okay. Name will be in quotation marks. Ice arrow. ID will be, I like to use the same number as the state. It works best for me. 235, 235. Position will be 00 for now. And it's going to be pos type to player 1. That means it's going to be aligned based on player 1's positioning. When we get the Xplot for the, the one that stays there like the other ones, this one. When we get the position for this, we'll use the same position for this. Not this, sorry, for the summoning. So this is going to be helper summoning code, and this is obviously the actual helper itself. So let's see, facing, we don't need this right now, or in this type of case. Key control is if you want to give yourself control of the helper, which we do not want. Own pal means if we want the helper to have its own palette, which I would say yes. Because say your character gets burned, and you have a helper out, which is going to act like a projectile, you don't want the helper to turn fiery like you know? Give it its own like life. Alright, so this code here, this helper state here basically calls the ice arrow state, which is state number 235, and this is 235. Ice arrow. So ice arrow is going to have these physics and move types and settings, and this animation, and the hit def, and instead of a change state, it's going to have a destroy self. Well, actually, it's going to have both. So let's see. First, it's going to have a destroy self, and this more or less destroys the helper itself. Actually, you know what? I don't even think I need a destroy self. Yeah, I don't think I need a destroy self. Okay, so change state would be pause y greater, less than, no, greater than -5 and ampersand vel y greater than -5. I don't know why I wrote that in caps this time, but Mugen will read it either way. Okay, so it's going to change state to, I'll make it copy and paste it again, into ice arrow hit ground. So this is in case the ice arrow hits the ground. And the animation for this will be, let's see, oh, that's not the right file. This one, 520, the ice spark. 520. This has no hit def in it whatsoever, and this will have a destroy self. So the helper is going to be created in the pointing in the air Z. The helper is going to be here. It's gonna, let me see, vel set equals 0, I guess 14 would aim it downwards. So this is the helper summoning code. It summons the helper. This is the actual helper itself, how it behaves based on velocity, the animation it plays, the physics that are in play, if it has a hit def, and this is the change state, which makes it change into hitting the ground, this one. And this requires the destroy self, otherwise the helper would be there alive constantly, and you don't want that. So we're going to put animation time equals 0. Animation time equals 0 means when the animation is completely finished. So I'll put a little comment here. When the animation has completely run its course and is finished playing. We don't need persistent or ignore hit pause in this case. Okay, we also need a vel set here. Otherwise it'll stay. Otherwise it'll hit the ground, but it'll also keep moving. And we also need a pause set. If you remember, I did that here too with the landing. So I'll copy and paste that. Now I'm not gonna number these because these are like, what's the word? Trivial things to number. You could if you want to. It's totally up to you. Okay, so make sure all your numbers match. 240. Control Doesn't matter. It's not you don't have control of this anyways. So let's just go over this again. Helper summoning code. It's gonna affect an animation element equals 7. It's gonna be called ice arrow. It's gonna be 235 is the ID. 235 is also the state. Position is gonna be 0, 0. We'll arrange that when we make the exploit correct. It's not gonna move when someone else does a super. It's gonna be aligned to player 1. It will have its own palette. This is the actual helper itself right here. The helper has no physics, has the animation of the downward arrow, is going to move down at 14 velocity. It'll have a hit def with only one trigger, so it'll hit only one time going down. And if it hits the floor, it's going to destroy itself with this animation here. Okay, I'll make another hit for this also. Change state, trigger 1 equals move contact. So move contact will work if it hits the player. It's gonna be 41. Copy, paste. We don't need the pause set because we don't want it to snap to a certain position. It's gonna stay in wherever it is, you know. Hit player. One, same animation, same velocity, same sprite. Make it to destroy self. Same thing. Good. All right. So if the move hits the player, it's gonna go to this. This was basically the arrow exploding into the hit spark and then killing itself when the hit spark is over. When the move hits the floor, based on position y and velocity y -5, which is just a tiny bit above the floor level, is going to change to this where it hits the ground and then kill itself. So let's save it and test it. I hope this works. It should work, I think. So let's first test it with the ground level. She floats up in the air. So jump and take a look at that. Choo. See? Hits the ground. And if you put the collision boxes on, you can see that she shoots it down really fast. It hits the floor and explodes. Then you see this little spot here? That spot is the helper's access. And then it kills itself. That's exactly what we want. What's this? Illegal project move time 210. I see. I gotta fix that move time. What's move time? Oh, okay. See this remove time here? This thing is kind of, it's not a real value. It works, but it's not a real value in projectile. So to fix that, we just have to go over to the spike. The spike is 34 ticks, so we'll change that to 34, and that'll fix that issue altogether. Remove time 34. See? So always debug your characters. Make sure they don't have any debug flood or any issues like that. Okay, so let's just check this again. Good. See? No debug issue this time. That's good. And you notice she's falling through the floor. Shoop. And I could walk in the air. Ha 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 ha. You'll never catch me, Kung Fu Man. So obviously that's a problem. Okay. But the point is, we got the arrow to work on the floor. So let's see if it works on Kung Fu Man. It hits him, and the animation changes. So for this type of movement, okay, it's not going to be easy to stop. Hit the player. Velset's good. Animation's good. Okay, for this one, we're going to put ignore hit pause equals 1. What this code is pretty much what it says. It's going to ignore the hit pause of this move right here. I think that's too high anyways. 4 and 6 and 6. Yeah. So it's going to ignore the hit pause and just explode like it should normally upon contact. Now let's just hope this works. I missed. Okay, that looks about right. Let's see. Nope, did not get it tested properly. Yeah. Whoosh. Okay, it looks a bit slow, but I mean, it works. So the arrow, the reason I have two, there's a certain reason why I have two actually. See how her ground Z is? Spikes. See how her air Z is? No spikes. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna add spikes. Command Z, copy these projectiles. Oh, what a coincidence. Player, hit player, no, hit ground. So when it hits the ground, it's gonna spawn these projectiles. So the projectile trigger is gonna be time equals 1. This way, this is effective at all times because 1 is a trigger. It's infinitely effective. So I'm going to use a 1. So this will take place 0 ticks, and everything after this will take place 1 tick. So this will set the helper to the ground level, and then 1 tick after, which is unseen by the naked eye, is going to take place like right away. So it'll look almost instantaneously, but it's not instantaneously. This can prevent your projectiles from going or appearing at the wrong time in the wrong place or something like that, which you don't want anyways. So let's just test it. Cha! Look at that. Icy key. Yeah. Check the bug. Nothing wrong with the bug. So in the off chance that's actually kind of funny. In the off chance that you do the jump Z and you shoot and you miss, your spikes have a chance of hitting. But if you don't jump, if you don't shoot and miss, oh wow, okay. You can still, okay, you can still shoot them in the head with the ice. And you see how this works? Look at that, it hits there, right? But then the X-Plot slides, hit spark slides over to the left. That is what you need these codes for. These these corner push codes are what stop that from happening. So we're going to go to the helper, ice arrow hit player. Actually, no, we're going to go to the hit def and add those codes. So now when it hits the player and he's off to the corner, he will not be, the helper will not be pushed off like it's strange or something. Yeah, once this loads up again. Okay. So take a look. See? It stays in the same place this time. Ja. Okay, now we need to make her come back down because she can't stay in the air forever, you know? Now, there are multiple ways to do this. You can use a gravity code, or you can use something else. What did I have here before? Okay, I used the gravity. If you look in air X and Y here, I used the gravity code to bring her back. Why do I have that there? Huh. Oh, okay, I see. And I also see that I have the same two states here. That's a problem. 220. Okay. Good. So they're both the same. And you see, I have a gravity code in play that brings the character down to the ground, and I have a chain state which brings the character down to the floor level. So we're going to copy that and paste it in Air Z, because if you think about it, it's more or less the same thing. Gravity will copy and paste too, and we're going to reuse the same landing state here basically. So let's see. Air Z time for the gravity will be time greater than 19, which I don't know yet. Let's take a look, see at animation flows for that. Air attack, Air Z. So 30 ticks, 40 ticks after she fires. So let's try 35. Yeah, I think 35 might be a good number. Did I put that in the right place? I did. Okay. So, bang. Good. Now let's see. I need to use some other fancy codes here too. Like vel mul. Vel mul means I think multiply. I think that's what it means really. So we'll use time greater than 0. and this works in terms of like 0 being times 0, which is like 0. Whatever number times 1 equals that number. Uh, 0.5 times whatever number will divide it by half, basically. Or in a sense, think of it as like a scaling option. Vel mul is like a scaling option. You put 1, it's going to be whatever value. You put zero point 0.5, it's going to be half that value. You put 0.25, it's going to be 1/4 of that value, which is kind of a good thing. So we'll try this. I think this will slow down her jumping and her flowing, her sliding in the air thing. So let's see if that works. And make her down slowly. There we go. Jump. Okay, now we don't want her to stop completely. We want her to move a little bit, right? So I guess that's not a good number to use. Maybe 5. Yeah, okay, so there. So we're going to make this active only for a certain time. 30 ticks. Okay, so time greater than 0 and time less than 30 ticks. This is going to be active only for this time frame. After 30 ticks, it will not be active, which means she can be taken effect by the gravity code here or any other velocity code that takes effect. Seems to just be stopping her though. Huh, that is kind of strange. But let's see. Okay, let's try like 0.9. Maybe 0.9 will make her still move. Because I want her to float a little bit, then attack. Yeah, like that. I know it looks strange, but that's kind of how I want it to work. Think of it as tactical advantage, like yeah. Like say someone's shooting a beam, this is like perfect. You just stand above them and float and bang. Now that was the helper coding. Next I will teach you grab coding, which I'm not a fan of grabs. I hate coding grabs. It was a deep passion, and I'll only code it to show how they're done. A true grab uses target bind and other target codes. I'm not going to use that because her grab in the game is more like a slap into the air. So that's what I'm going to do for her grab. First off, I need the animation for that, which I don't have yet. So I'll add the sprites. Shelly. Okay, and her throw stuff is actually her bullet animation. I'm not sure why, but it is. There, and there. Okay. So this will be 700. Again, I'm just using numbers I like. Okay, so onion skin, show the stance, align her feet to match up properly, or rather her head, but in this case the feet. She's got like this angry face on. Let's see. Okay, here. Here. And you know what? I think I'm also going to scrap the idea for the elemental bullet and just give her ice bullets, like various type of ice attacks. This one's kind of nice. I think she's actually floating in these frames here. So she'll go like, ah, holy powers, oh my god, yeah. Yeah, see, she's got like some weird mystical powers going on there. Okay, and that's not the same frame at all. I was deceived. That's the same frame. So 11 I don't need, so 10 is the last one. Okay, let's just make sure everything else is aligned properly. If you add sprites and they're the same as some other sprites, both of them will be misaligned like horribly, like off by a couple pixels. So you always want to check that to make sure. And everything looks great. Good. So now we're gonna make the animation for the throw. I'll make it 700. 700. Okay. Grab. Attempt. Now, throws and grabs are done in probably 3 sets of animations. 1 for the player to attempt to grab, 2 for the player actually grabbing the character, which is successful at that point, and 3 which is player 2 being the grab. So grab attempt P1. Okay, I'll make 205, 705. Grabbing P1, capital. Next, I'll make 715. Give a little space there. Grabbing P2. Now, let's see. First, the bullet animation was 700, so we'll use that. My universal hitbox strikes again. Once I find it. Okay. And good. So here, add my universal hitbox, copy, pasta, all of this stuff. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How's the animation work? Okay. Oh. Okay. Don't need this. Don't need this. Don't need this. Don't need this. This or this. So basically, her grab is she extends her hands out like this. That's her grab here, right? This frame, and pulls it back in. Okay, so I will use this frame as well. Then 1. So it'll look like this. That's her grab. Let's make the time say 4. The actual grab itself will be very quick, and it'll be this is going to be the hitbox for the grab. So if the player 2 is in your hitbox, you're going to attack them basically, but it's not really an attack, it's like that. And then her grab, from what I saw on the sprite sheet, this is her grab, just a slap into the air. But I'm going to make this like super ridiculous. So grabbing, so this is the grab attempt. If she hits with the grab, this one, then she'll be sent to this frame, which is this. And I'll make this like exaggerated with 20 ticks, so it looks like a super powerful hit. You're like, ja. And player 2, now their timing on player 2 has to match the timing on player 1. If it's like a special kind of grab, like with target bind, or like say flip moves, like say Ryu will grab you and flip you over his shoulders, you need target bind and special rotation and stuff like that. Well, not like special kind of rotation, more like using the 5000 rotations. See all of these? This is what you're going to be using to do a proper grab. She doesn't have that, unfortunately, so I can't show you a proper grab, but I can show you the basic idea of putting player 2 into a custom state and then attacking them and then sending them back to their own state. So player 2, after she grabs them, the opponent's going to be like this. Group 5010 index 10. See, because of custom states, it is very important that you have these required sprites, otherwise you get a blank. Like she'll grab and nothing will be there, it'll just be a blank. And let's add a blue hitbox, so this way you can hit them. And in this case, you want to hit them. In another case where it's a flip, you don't want to hit them. So you can opt out for the hitboxes, or just make them not hit by, which is actually a code, not hit by, and they won't be hit by anything. So when she grabs player 2, it'll be stuck like this, like ah. Then she'll spin around, whoop, slap them into the air, and they'll fly straight up. At that point, the regular Mugen stuff kicks in. So let's code the grab. The grab is going to be special motions. It's going to be, we're going to name it grab, and the command is going to be X plus Y. So you have to press X and Y together to do this grab. And let me see. Okay, go down here. I'll copy and paste this one. I'll copy and paste this one because it's here already. This is going to be grab. And rename this to grab. Command equals grab. Wait, did I put that in capitals? I did put it in capitals. Capital is very important. Always remember how you set them or else it will not work. Now state numbers here are used. Let me check this. I didn't use 500 here, so I'm going to use 500 now. So grab will be state 500. Now let's make state 500. So I'm going to copy command X1 because it's like the basic command I have, and just remove stuff from it. I don't know why this is there at all. I gotta move that down somewhere. There we go. There we go. Okay, so since this is the grab command, we don't want this. We don't need that there. We don't need the hit sound. We're gonna rename this to grab. Rename this to state 500. So all of this is good. Juggle points. Juggle points matter, so we'll leave that. Power add. I guess we can add some power to the player when they grab them, if they grab them. Control, no. Velocity, no. Animation will be 700. The player attempting to grab. Okay, next will be the hit def, which will be animation 4. What a coincidence that is. Damage will be 0. Guard damage does not exist. Pause time will be 0. 0. Hit spark will be does not exist. -1 means -1 for numbers for things like this means does not exist. Otherwise, -1 for something that revolves around time will mean infinitely. Hit sound I'll add later. Ground type will be low. Slide time, hit time, all this stuff. Okay, we don't want her to move, so velocity is 0. Air velocity 0, 0. Guard flag. She can guard. Oh, well, she shouldn't be able to guard anyways. So we'll just put no guard flag. Hit flag will be M. It's either high or low. If the opponent is falling, then it won't affect them. I don't think this is even mattered here. And this attribute is going to be standing, normal, throw. So this is active only for this moment in time. And let's just test it to see if it works. Then I'll get on to making player 2 go into the custom state and player 1 go into the custom state. Okay, so X and Y, see? She hits him and he's like, take it like a man. Good. Now let's copy and paste this again. As you can see, copy and pasting is the way of life in Mugen. So we'll rename this grabbing P1. It's funny, I say this. I use 500 as the number here, but the animation is 700. So that totally goes against everything I've said in the previous videos, which kind of blows. So 5, velocity doesn't matter. Control, no power to be added. No juggle points to be taken away. Hit def, I will erase this for now and add it back later in a second. First I want to show you how it works. Copy this, paste it again. Grabbing player 2. 515, 715, 715. Now this is going to be self state. Basically the way this works is if I do not hit player 2, then they were going to use their self state on the trigger. Time equals 100. And self state basically takes the character out of my custom state and takes them back to their own state, so the player has control at that point again. Now let's see. So in order to put in order to put the player into a custom state, you need to add this to your hit def. P1 state number equals whatever state player 1 is going into. You don't always need P1, you could just have P2. But for a grab you need to have both. 715. Okay, now both is here. And another thing to note, for your type you have to, move type I think has to be H. No, I think it's type actually. Let me see. Mugen. I'll go to characters. Kung Fu Man, where are you hiding? Kung Fu Man. And I'm using Kung Fu Man as reference because Elect Byte left a lot of notes for us to see, and it's always good to just double check that stuff here. What time am I? 30 minutes 40. Ugh. Okay, here we go. As you see on top, I like by commenting this stuff. So move type equals A for attack, I for idle, H for get hit. That's what we need, H. So we're gonna put move type H. The player is getting hit. Standing and standing. Player 2 has no control whatsoever at this point, and that's all that. Now let's try this out, see if it works. If you put the player 2 in a custom state and you do not have move type equal H, they will not play that custom state. In fact, they will just ignore it
Get
altogether.
ready, fighters. Go
And
for
that's
broke.
an error that a lot of people make. So let's see. Okay, that didn't work. Okay, so I'm getting a debug error here saying Shelly would like to change the invalid state number. Ah, well, that's a good reason, because I put stupid state numbers that don't exist. See, I got confused because I used different numbers. That's my fault. And that's a good example of why you shouldn't do such things. Now let's try it again. So she grabs, she turns around, she flips. Kung Fu Man seems unfazed by this. And as you see here, debug, player Kung Fu Man 57 in state 515 change to invalid action number 715. Which means this code here does not work. So what we need to do in the player 2's control custom state here is change animation 2. Change animation 1 affects player 1. Change animation 2 affects player 2 only in a custom state. I think there's a glitch where it'll affect them outside of a custom state, but no one's ever really used that. Time equals 0. Animation value will be 715. This could be ignored, and these other could be ignored. So now at 0 ticks, the player is going to change to the hurt animation that I made. I think. I hope. I think. Test it. Yep. See? Hurt. Missed. But he's still stuck. So let's just check this thing now. Take off the life bars. Get to a dark patch. Okay, so press Control D to put the bug on. Press Control D again to view player 2's debug. Kung Fu Man 57. Blah 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 blah. Let's check the other side actually. I think the other side is dark green patch. There we go. More visible. So grab. When it turns yellow, that means player 2 has entered a custom state. And this is the amount of time passed, 0 ticks. That's surprised I got that. And there's no hit there, so I missed the attack, obviously. And now watch. When he goes to 100, he should go back to his normal Kung Fu Man state. See? He went back to stand at time 100. So in case I get hit out of my grab, and he'll be stuck there for 100 ticks, then he'll go back to his own recovery. I think 5,000 is the best to use for self-state recoveries. This way, it lets Mugen take care of recovery for the player. Let's see how that works. Because if you notice, just now when he recovered, he went from like being punched in the stomach to like being perfectly fine, like a second. No, flat, instantaneously. Look, and same thing. Well, whatever. He heals from it, but he shouldn't have to. So next, I'll add the hit def to my grab in player 1. I'll copy this hit def back again, and there. Okay. My attack is frame 4. Good. Frame 4, 50 damage. There should be no guard damage. There is no guard flag. It doesn't exist. Hit pause, okay. Spark number I'll change later. Okay, so now ground velocity will be 3. Air velocities does not matter here. And I'm going to put negative like 20. So you can only imagine what this is going to do to him when I actually grab the guy. Take a look. But you see he landed because I forgot to put fall equals 1 and fall recover. equals 0. Fall recover equals 0. Fall recover equals 0 means if he's in the fall state, he cannot recover, which you kind of just want to go up then come back down like ouchies. Let's try it again. So grab, yank, ka. See? Okay, so I guess I'll put the hit pause to 1-1, see how that works. This way it won't look like a regular hit, it'll look like a special kind of hit. And I put guard flag to 0, so if someone like goes up to her, she'll hit them too. Ha! Look at that. That was like so fast. That was like a bit too fast actually. I can't even see the attack. Okay, it's there. Wah! So yeah. So that's the basic form of coding for helpers and grabs. So let's just revise. So when she jumps, she'll pull out the wrong arrow, but she'll aim down, shoot the helper, which you see the helper has his own little axis and everything here. Once the helper hits the ground level here, it's going to shatter and cause 2 projectile spikes, which is what I wanted her to do. And then if the projectile hits the helper hits the player, it just explodes. Simple enough. Then the grab. We have the grab attempt. Yeah. Then the actual grabbing of both players going to the custom state. Then me hitting Kung Fu Man up into the air like insanely high. And him die. Now, let's revise that with the coding. Air helper Z. Okay, that's that. Air Z. We have the helper summoning code. What the hell is 515? Oh yeah, I didn't set the position for this right. All right, let's go do that now. While I'm here. What time is it? 42. I think I talk too much when I make these videos. That's got to be it. If anyone has any requests, be sure to ask. I will try my best to do video tutorials for you, but you know, yeah, I'm quite the lazy one. Air Z, so frame 6 time 20 time equals 21. I use time after 20 because 20 is the end of the frame where she's getting ready, and 21 is the frame where she's already ready. Ah, see, the arrow's a bit too high, so let's lower it down, say by 28, and position for this is going to be -10. And like I said in the other video, it's strictly just guessing. I don't know what the hell I'm really putting in here. Ah, it's in the right hand now, but it's just way off to the side. Okay, so let's just try 0. I mean, 0 never hurt to try, right? Okay, it hurts to try 0. So maybe just -5. Since -10 was too much, so -5 must be like the in-between number, I would assume. Looks good, I think. So we'll put the same for the position, 28, -5, and just a quick check. And after I finish with these checks, I will review what I've done to make this helper and this grab work, and whatever else tips I can remember. What's my time limit here? 44 minutes. I gotta learn to teach better or something. I talk too much. So, hacha and hacha. Okay, good. The only difference now is the remove time has to be fixed. This is 10 ticks, 30, 40. Remove time 10. I'll put 9. I think that'll work. I don't know. So anyways, you have the helper summoning code. This will call the helper to appear. This is the helper state. Once the helper is called, this state will take effect. Now in this state, we need to have, I forgot to put something very important in here. It's called a hit override. Now say two helpers hit each other, they're not gonna just explode just like that. They're gonna turn to clones of the character. I'm not sure if I can replicate that. I will try. Ah, wrong code. It's gonna crash on me. Yep. Okay, so let's see. So air. That was fast. Very fast. In the face. So let's see. Kofuman's gonna do his here. Okay, that didn't work. Okay, maybe I can do this. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure I can. Yeah, there we go. See, Kung Fu Man slapped the arrow, and the arrow made a clone of her. You cannot control it, but it's a clone, and you gotta fix that. So how do you fix that? You add a hit override code. Hit override code means if the helper is hit by whatever you specify here, any of these attributes, it's gonna go to whatever state number you specify there. So we want it to go to ice hit player, which is just the explosion of the ice arrow. So what state number is that? That is state number 241. 241. And the hit override will be 1, constantly activated. Now if the what the hell did I do? Okay, so if the helper is hit by a standing, crouch, or air, normal attack, super attack, hyper attack, normal projectile, super projectile, hyper projectile, normal throw, super throw, hyper throw, then it's gonna go to that state where it breaks. So let me try this again, and hopefully it will work. If I get a clone, then I did something wrong. Let's see, jump, ice, good. Totally missed. Right there, see, that was perfect before. Huh, that's really fast. There, see? He hit the ice and it's shattering basically. So it's a failsafe now. So now the helper will not turn to a character. So let me start revising over again. You have the helper summoning code, a helper name, and the helper state number, and then you have the helper state, which is what's going to be called upon. Once this is here, you need to have a hit override, which will protect the helper from making clones of the character, which you do not want. No one wants this. It's a horrible mess. Hit def for the helper to hit the opponent, and various chain states or destroy self depending. Now, in my case, I have an arrow that hits in various ways. Either it hits the ground or it hits the player. If it hits the ground, it's going to use a code like this and change to that state. If it hits the player, it's going to use a code like this, move contact. Then you have the two states, of course, to change into. If it's hit the ground, it's going to, stay on the ground level, create two projectiles, and then kill itself with the destroy self. If it hits the player, it's just going to play the animation, then destroy itself. Put a line here. Now let's go over the throw, the grab. The grab has the initial grab state, which is the player attempting to grab. You don't need any of the fancy. You don't need this. You don't need this. You don't even need the grab velocity, honestly speaking. The sounds you can leave, the hit pause, the guard flag, all that stuff. Okay, so I think this is all you basically need for a grab hit def. This is the most important part to have: the P1 state number, P2 state number. In the grab, you have the initial grab state, which is this, attempting to grab. If you're successful, player 1 will go to this state. If you're successful, player 2 will go to this state. If you're not successful, the character is going to change state back to the stance or whatever. So now player one's going to his state here. So you'll have, this will be like a regular attack state with whatever you want to put in it, basically, you know. Or if you have a certain kind of like flip overhead animation, you would have that flip overhead animation here. Now we're gonna go to player two's state. Player 2 state needs to have move type equals H and physics equals N. This way player 2 has like no physics whatsoever, but in my case I will leave it as S because he will be standing when I do this, and he'll still be standing here with type S. But move type equals H, or else player 2 will ignore your custom state altogether and just go back to their standing animation or fall down and die. Not die, but just fall down on the ground. And using an animation code in the state def will not work. You need to use change animation 2, which only affects player 2, not player 1, not no one else. Or if you're playing 2-on-2 mode, change animation 2 will affect the person that you're grabbing. And then as a failsafe, you need a self state which will return the player to their stance or whatever they're in. 5,000 is the best number, which was given to me from Alexei, who is a much better coder than myself. He said 5,000 is a good number because from 5,000, Mugen will decide what to do with the character. If they're in the air, they'll fall properly. You know, if they're being hit, they'll react properly. All that stuff. We don't need this control here. So that's basically it for the grab. You have the initial grab state. You have if player 1 grabs and if player 2 grabs. And the behavior in my case is just a hit that sends them flying. And this is also important, as I said before, move type equal H, or else it's not going to happen. If you're doing a traditional grab, you would have to use the target bind code. Target bind is basically a positioner. So this positioner will be based on the player one's like access points. Actually, not really player one's access point, but rather player two's, I guess. But yeah. Target bind is what you need for grabbings. Sorry I can't really show you a proper grab and flip overhead, but I guess this is a good little example of a grab. So thanks for watching, and the next video I'm gonna plan out some supers in my head and I'll work on that for the supers. So again, thanks for watching. See you next time.